Here is Graybridge, the town an orphan boy saved. The town had already decided Christmas was over, but no one bothered to tell the orphan who refused to let the light die. He had no parents, no home, no presents. Yet on Christmas Eve, an orphan boy carried the one thing the whole town had lost hope. The boy who saved Christmas. The boy no one noticed. Snow fell differently in Graybridge. It didn't dance. It didn't sparkle. It felt tired like the town itself. Graybridge was a place where Christmas lights flickered more than they shone, where shop windows displayed decorations out of habit, not hope. People walked faster in December, not because they were excited, but because they were cold inside and out. And in the narrow space between the orphanage gate and the frozen river lived a boy named Eli. Eli was 11. No one knew his birthday. No one remembered when he arrived. He had been dropped at the orphanage one winter morning, wrapped in a blanket that smelled faintly of smoke and lavender. No note, no name, just a boy with wide eyes and a cough that lasted years. The orphanage called him Eli because it was short, easy, forgettable. Just like him, Eli learned early that being quiet meant survival. Loud children got noticed, and noticed children got disappointed. So he stayed quiet. He swept floors without being asked. He shared food even when hungry. He smiled even when ignored, especially when ignored. Every Christmas, Graybridge held a festival, the Everlight celebration. It was supposed to remind people that light always returned, even after the darkest nights. But for years, the Everlight had dimmed. First, the choir stopped singing. Then the donations shrank. Then the big tree in the town square went undecorated. And this year, the festival was cancelled. The notice was pinned outside City Hall in dull ink, due to lack of funds, participation, and spirit. The Everlight celebration will not be held this year. People read it and shrugged. Figures. Christmas doesn't feel the same anyway. What's the point? Eli read it too, and something in his chest cracked. Because Christmas was the only time of year he allowed himself to hope. Part 2. A promise made in secret. At the orphanage, Christmas meant practical gifts. Socks, soap, second-hand coats. But Eli didn't mind. What he loved were the stories. Mrs. Calder, the oldest caretaker, used to tell them when her voice still worked well. Stories about angels singing, about shepherds keeping watch, about a child born into nothing who changed everything. A baby, she once said, coughing between words, who proved that even the smallest life could carry the greatest light. That story stayed with Eli because it sounded familiar. This year, Mrs. Calder was too sick to speak. The other caretakers were tired. The children argued over decorations pulled from a broken box, and Christmas Eve came quietly, too quietly. Eli sat by the orphanage window that night, watching snow gather on empty streets. No carols, no laughter, no lights. Graybridge had given up, and Eli whispered something he had never said aloud before. I won't. It wasn't a prayer exactly, more like a promise. The light everyone forgot. Behind the orphanage, near the frozen river, stood an old storage shed. Inside it were things no one wanted: broken lanterns, rusted tools, cracked ornaments. Eli had been there many times, hiding when the world felt too heavy. That night, he went again. With numb fingers, he rummaged through the dust until he found it. An old lantern. Its glass was chipped, its handle bent. But when Eli cleaned it and poured in the last of the oil from a forgotten can, it lit. A small flame, weak but alive. Eli stared at it, heart pounding. He remembered the Everlight tradition. Long ago, a single flame was carried through town, passed from hand to hand, symbolizing shared hope. No one did that anymore. But maybe someone still could. Eli wrapped himself in his thin coat, lifted the lantern, and stepped into the night. Part 4. One step at a time. The cold was unforgiving. Eli's fingers burned. His breath came sharp. Snow soaked through his shoes. But he walked. Past closed shops. Past dark houses. Past people who didn't see him. At the town square, the giant Christmas tree stood, bare branches heavy, Lights broken. Eli placed the lantern at its base. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a woman stopped. She had been walking home from a late shift, exhausted, bitter. "What are you doing, kid?" she asked. Eli swallowed. "Keeping the light on." She laughed softly, not cruelly, sadly. "Doesn't matter anymore." Eli didn't argue. He just lifted the lantern and walked on. Something about that unsettled her. She followed. Part 5. When one becomes two, they walked together, silently at first. Then the woman spoke. "Why?" Eli thought carefully. "Because if no one does, it goes out." At the bakery, an old man saw the flame and stepped outside. At the bus stop, a teenage boy joined them. Someone brought candles. Someone else brought a flashlight. The flame moved from hand to hand. The group grew. People didn't sing, not yet. They just walked. And for the first time in years, Graybridge felt awake. Part 6. The truth comes out. At City Hall, someone finally asked, "Who started this?" All eyes turned to Eli. Small, shivering, invisible no longer. He hesitated. "I'm from the orphanage," he said. "I don't have a family, but Christmas was never about having everything. It was about not being alone." Silence. Then Mrs. Calder appeared wrapped in blankets, supported by two caretakers. Her voice trembled, but it carried. "This," she said, pointing at Eli, "is the Christmas story." People cried. Not loud, not dramatic. The kind of crying that heals. Lights appeared, real ones this time. Someone found decorations. Someone brought music. Someone lifted Eli onto their shoulders so he could place the star on the tree. And when the town sang, it wasn't perfect, but it was honest. Snow kept falling, but Graybridge was warm. On Christmas morning, Eli woke to a knock. Outside the orphanage stood the town. With gifts. With food. With names they finally learned. And a small plaque for the town square. "The everlight burns because one child believed." Eli smiled. Not because he saved Christmas, but because, for the first time in his life, Christmas saved him too. Show some love, like, share, and subscribe. It costs nothing but helps a lot.